Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are actually building in Britechester. I cannot recall the last time I built in Britechester. It was either a dorm or... Was it a dorm? It may have been a dorm. Look, it's been a long time. This is the world that shipped with Discover University, which came out, I want to say a couple years ago at this point, which is scary to think about too. Am I having a crisis? I feel like I'm having a crisis. Anyway, we're building in Britechester and I'm really excited about this build. Now, let me first say that this release of this build, it's been an extreme delay. I don't know how else to phrase it. This build was so delayed and it was all because of my memory. I have the memory of a goldfish. I need you all to know this. I just do. I blame the ADHD. My memory is trash. And I was part of a collab, I want to say at the time of me recording this, maybe about like a month or two ago, for, it was called the Back to Basics collab. It was really, really awesome. There were so many simmers that were involved. I was so honored to be a part of it. And essentially what we did is we redid all of the worlds, but if a world came with or a certain pack came with a world, we used only base game in that pack. You picking up what I'm putting down? So I chose Britechester, and I chose the slot because this is where the Elderberry family lives, and I didn't know much about them, so I wanted to build a house for them. And I always struggle to build townhouses in Britechester, at least the ones that kind of resemble what we have when you first load up the game. I just struggle. It's a weird shape. And as I was building this, I completely spaced on the fact that it was only supposed to be Discover University and base game friendly. So for the collab itself, if you were to download the save file, which I'll put all the information in the description, definitely check it out if you haven't already. Maybe this will cause a bit of a resurgence of people going towards it because it's a really, really cool save file. It came out beautifully. Some of the builds are absolutely nuts. Like they're amazing. And I was just honored that mine was even included in the first place. But yeah, I'll put all that information down below, but it was supposed to just be Discover University and base game exclusive. So if you do load up this build, as part of that save file, it's going to look a little bit different, but to be honest, I was able to find a lot, and I mean a lot of substitutes in base game to swap some things out. And I think the only major changes to the exterior are like the railings and the fencing, and then I want to say some of the windows, the ones up in the dormer, because those are from Cottage Living, as well as the landscaping. I did have to alter that because you guys know me at this point. I use a lot of get together debug landscaping items, but I don't know, it wasn't that hard to swap things out. So if you do download the save file, it will look different, but this is how it will look if you download it from the gallery. And I really, really love this townhouse. Like genuinely, really, really love it. I thought it came out so much better than I was anticipating it coming out. And I struggle with this shape because it doesn't leave you with a lot of room to really floor plan large spaces, because it's not a large space, but this only had to be for 3 Sims. There's the 2 grandparents and their grandson. I think his name is Rohan, I want to say. I don't have the information up in front of me, so I hope I got it right, but they have taken in their grandson and he's thinking about going to college soon. That's the shtick. That's it. And he gets this really, really cool attic space as like a teen hangout. That's what I ended up making up there, which I thought was really, really neat. And it was just a lot bigger than I was anticipating with how small it honestly looked. So there's this big front entryway that we end up making when we get onto the interior, and there's a living room, a combined kitchen. I can't really say there's a dining room at all. There are some bar height stools. That's where the dining really is. And then on the second story, we have both of the bedrooms, and I believe there's 2 bathrooms on the second story too. Did I get 2 bathrooms in there? Yeah, I did. I got 2 bathrooms upstairs, which was kind of wild. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that, but it ended up being a decent size. Like I was really happy with how it came out. I thought the floor plan was a little bit odd on the first floor. I was really struggling with how to lay certain things out, especially because I did have a door to the backyard as well. And I don't know, it was just really nerve-wracking because I knew it was going to be a challenge. That's why I actually chose this lot for the collab, because I wanted to challenge myself. And I mean, 2 birds with 1 stone, I was able to build their house for my save file. So I win all around, I guess. That sounded really weird, but I was really happy about it. I'm just really thrilled with how it came out. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. As you can see, we are now working on the interior. I am laying out the kitchen slash, I'll say dining space, but I was really happy because instead of getting a like cramped little dining table in here, I just created a big island with the 3 bar height stools. And I thought it looked really, really nice. I thought it was really fitting for kind of a townhouse that was a little bit older because, you know, obviously they're grandparents, they're on the older side. And he's got like a really cool room too. I like diving into characters every now and then, or specific Sims, I should say. Like recently I think I recently posted it, I should say, but I recorded it months ago. I did a home for one of the families from Snowy Escape, and I loved tying in their personalities to their rooms. It was very refreshing because when I build, and I'm just coming up with my own dynamics, I might dabble and talk about some of their hobbies. I definitely have a dynamic in mind, like more often than not, but having Sims already made and then kind of building for them, I build differently when I have Sims to kind of work off of. So it was really nice. I like this townhouse. And what's also different about some of the townhouses, or at least the 2 that you get when you load up this world by default, they're like 3-story townhouses. This one's only 2. The attic doesn't count as a 3rd full story, but this is only 2. Now I could have made a basement. I probably could have put the stairs like kind of back there where those cabinets are near the back door or something. I thought about it for a brief moment, giving the teen kind of like a basement hangout or even a basement bedroom. That could have worked fine. But I liked the attic space a little bit more. I loved the dormer space because it ended up being larger than I was anticipating, and it worked out perfectly. I really enjoyed it. But you can see that the kitchen is pretty much coming together, just trying to coordinate a few more decorations here, trying to figure out how I'm going to extend the tile, how far I'm going to extend the tile, I should say, and just adding a lot of like homey touches as well, because I feel as though I don't know because I don't have their traits up in front of me or like their jobs or anything like that, but I'm going to go with, I think that the grandfather actually does a lot of the cooking. And I just think that's funny because I remember that he is like really grumpy. I think is he hot-headed? I think he's hot-headed. That might be correct. I might be completely off, but I think he's hot-headed, and I feel like he blows off steam in the kitchen. I just really like that idea. So I think a majority of the stuff in the kitchen is really for him, and he does a lot of the cooking. And I'm not really sure about Grandma though. I'm not quite sure what she enjoys doing. I didn't add a lot of skill building items in this build, just because there weren't really outlined hobbies and stuff like that. I wish I had their info up in front of me, but if I start doing it, it's going to be pretty my mouse and keyboard are pretty loud, so I'm not going to do that to you guys. But anyway, the kitchen is pretty much almost done. I spent a lot of time on it because it really did set the tone for the rest of the build. And that little space through the archway is going to be the living room, which is a bit small. But again, the townhouse itself seemed kind of sort of small, and there was like no way to break apart this build on the first floor at least any other way, especially with that bay window in the kitchen. Like I knew there was going to be no other way. And it worked out because this space here has a lot of those bigger open windows. I thought it was so pretty. It lets in so much light, and it's actually pretty cozy even though it's fairly small. I did struggle with curtain selection at first. I was trying so hard not to use my default curtains, and that's when I realized that I was working with a medium wall height, which meant I could use the curtains from Cats and Dogs, which I did immediately because I love those curtains, and I can never freaking use them because I don't build with the medium wall height. Almost ever. I barely do it. I think, aside from this build, at the moment, I have one more build coming up. I think it's in Willow Creek, and there are medium wall heights. I think there's medium wall heights. So I didn't use the curtains because they didn't really fit the build. But anyway, I don't build with medium wall heights very often. But the living room is pretty much coming together. I loved being able to toss in this high back armchair from Cats and Dogs with these more neutral shaped and colored neutral colored sofas from Base Game. I thought they were perfect for this build. I added some clutter up here on the coffee table. I think I added like the chess set thing from the Everyday Clutter kit. I think I put it underneath. I thought that was kind of a cute detail. I added some shoes too, like maybe the teen tosses his shoes off every now and then and they just kind of get shoved under the coffee table, even though his grandparents are constantly telling him to bring his shoes up to his room. And I played around with the couches a little tiny bit. I think did I land on the Cats and Dogs ones? I can't even remember if I kept the cats and dogs ones or if I went back to the base game ones. Either would work if you want to play around with that. I even tried the maximalist couches for a second, but they were a little bit too fancy. That swatch wasn't bad, but they were too fancy for what I was going for. I think I did. Yeah, I went back to the cats and dogs ones, but I think the the base game ones could work really nicely as well, but I liked the pop of color on the pillows, as I always do, because I really like those pillows on the couch. And then we work on the entryway, which is very simplistically decorated. I don't know. There's a mirror and we've got the little key rack mail holder thing. We have a console table, and I added a couple of bookcases because I wasn't able to squeeze one into that living space, but I loved adding this console table, again, from Discover University. And aside from that, there really isn't too much else in the entryway. And again, it's just because it's such like a long, weird shape too. It's a pretty big entryway, but it's a little bit long. I just added a few decorations there, and then I do end up adding another bookcase just to kind of fill that space a bit more. And that is about it. And then we end up moving on to the upstairs. And again, I think I mentioned this maybe 2 minutes ago in this voiceover, but I was considering doing a basement, but I was trying to think like, I had to put the stairs over there against the wall. Where would I have put the basement stairs? I think I had originally left the kitchen, but now that I'm looking at the entryway, maybe I could have snuck them next to this staircase that goes up to the second floor. I don't know, maybe I'll have to play around with it a little bit more, or you guys can if you really want to. But we're on to the second story, which again has 2 full bathrooms and then the 2 bedrooms. Now, the teen does have a pretty small bedroom just because I knew that I wanted, of course, a double bed in the primary bedroom for the grandparents. So it was a little bit tough. It was a sacrifice I had to make for the teen. He has a smaller room, but again, I think that the dormer space, kind of his hangout space, kind of makes up for it because that's where a majority of the activities for him are. And now this is going to be the primary bedroom. And again, since this townhouse I was thinking was one that the grandparents have been in for years and years and years, it's just not as updated. So they have like older furniture. They've got this older striped wallpaper like they have downstairs. Maybe the bathrooms have been updated because I think the tiles look a little bit more contemporary, the ones from Parenthood. So maybe they've remodeled all of the bathrooms to match, and perhaps over time they will strip the wallpaper and maybe paint the walls instead. I think the flooring, I got really detailed with this in my brain, okay? Now, I grew up in a home with hardwood floors, which I now understand to be kind of amazing, and at the time, well, actually now too, would probably be really expensive to get. My parents got extremely lucky and they bought their house, I want to say before it was even built. Like they got in whilst construction was happening and they got to choose a lot of the things, which is amazing. And back in like the 80s, I think the house was like $150,000 or something, which is nuts because the house my husband and I bought last year was like 4 times that. And let me just say that that's completely normal for the area that I'm in. Okay, I want to say that too. We are working middle class, okay? We are, and it doesn't really matter how much your house costs, but I'm just trying to like show the duality between the house that my parents had for that amount of money and then the house that we have, like stark difference. But anyway, I was thinking that in this house, the hardwood floors are original, but maybe they got them refinished. And that's why they look so nice. Maybe they had gotten scuffed up over the years since they raised kids in this home. Maybe they had a pet at some point. And, you know, back when they had the original hardwood floors, we didn't have as much things to kind of like protect those hardwood floors from scratches and spills. So they had the floors refinished, and they're very slowly trying to upgrade things just to keep the townhouse in really good shape. Maybe if they're thinking of resale value. I don't know where all of this is coming from in regards to the real estate talk. I don't know where this is coming from for me. I'm just going on a roll right now. My head's just in the space. I don't know how we got here, but I kind of liked the journey. You know what I mean? Up here is going to be the attic space. Now, this is why I was thinking what I was thinking with the hardwood floors, because they did not refinish the ones upstairs in the attic. They've gotten scuffed up. They look a little bit worn, and luckily they actually resemble the cats and dogs hardwood floors. This hardwood floor, I believe, is from Get Famous. It looks identical. So it actually works really nicely with what I was thinking. And again, they have this striped wallpaper, and now he's got a TV up here. He's got some beanbag chairs to hang out. He's got his guitar. He's got this makeshift DIY bookshelf. And then there's also a desk with some like gaming streaming software. So he really has a lot to do up here, which I think is really cool. And his grandparents are, well, older. I don't think they'll be climbing the ladder to get up there and use any of the stuff. So this really is just for the teen. He also has a keyboard, so maybe he dabbles in like music. Maybe he took piano from when he was a kid and he just kind of plays for fun. It's not something he takes super seriously, but he enjoys it every now and then. I also put the attic storage box up here if you wanted to add decorations to this house for any holidays, and just added a few different like clutter items. Now you might also be thinking it could have been a great opportunity to use the Basement Treasures kit. Well, fun fact, since this was for a collab months ago, I actually finished this home on January 8th. So this was well before we had Growing Together and the new kits and everything else. So feel free to add anything that you would like to this build from those new packs if you have them. But this was built a long time ago, so it doesn't include anything from those packs. But like I said, his room is a little bit small, so he's got his bed in here, he's got a dresser, he has another TV and another gaming station. Kid's pretty lucky. He's got one upstairs in his attic and he's got one in his room. And I just add a few more clutter items to the top of the dresser, such as the speaker from the Everyday Clutter kit, which I thought was a nice addition because again, it's another activity. But since I did move objects, it might not work. Maybe it will. I think it will because your Sims don't have to really interact with it, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think it works. I think I play tested that, but I can't be certain. Anyway, he's got like a laundry hamper over here. He's got some clothes he hasn't put away. He's a little bit messy. And he's got this like soccer banner, another little, what's it called? Beanbag chair. And then there's just a mirror on the wall as well, just to make it look decorated and lived in and at least somewhat personalized. And I don't know if... I think I just decided that he was into soccer because he's going to university. Obviously, he's not on the soccer team yet, but maybe that's his goal. Maybe he's played soccer all through high school and he's really excited to go to whichever university and play soccer as well. So that's why I put all that like soccer stuff everywhere. But I don't know. I really liked his room. It's small, but I think it still worked for the space and added a lot of personality. I also added that little like yolk egg rug thing from, I want to say it was the Pastel Pop Kit. I thought that was super cute. And then we move on to the backyard, which is very small. It's a pretty small lot. I think this is a 20 by 15. So the house itself is reasonably small and the backyard is tiny. I didn't fence it in or anything because I didn't think that was really going to look correct for this lot, but I am of course carrying the landscaping through using a lot of those debug items from the Get Together debug menu as well as base game. And back here there is just an outside dining table. I believe there's a fire pit because I could think of nothing else to add back here at all. I was trying to think of things that would make sense and that the grandparents and the team would want to engage with. So I believe that's what we end up doing. And I think that's it. There might be some gardening pots too, just in case any of the Sims want to do some gardening. It's something I try to add in almost every single build, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter if it's a grandparent or anything like that. I think gardening is a pretty essential skill that a lot of Sims end up picking up, especially if you're trying to play without cheats and you're trying to earn money. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this build. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I'm so glad I finally shared it and that I finally remembered that it existed, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
In the morning, when you walk away, my heart drops to the floor. They said it would get easier, but I don't know who for. Days move faster now, I swear. I can feel them slip away. But some things last forever. The love that never fades. It's easy to make promises for the young and free, but you kept every word you said and you stayed true to me. We lean into the great beyond. There's more love yet to make, 'cause some things last forever. The love that never fades. smile.